So what we've got here is the Paul Robeson Middle School. There are a number of areas where we have broken glass, stripped out ceiling materials, wires that might be down, that sort of thing. So everybody required to have hard sole shoes on, no flip-flops, no soft soles, nothing like that. Also, if you have a flashlight in your vehicle or on you, I would recommend that you bring it. We're going to need those for the tour, especially as we go downstairs where there's no power. It's pretty dark down there, so if you have one on your phone, you got one in your car, whatever else the case is, as much light as we can bring with us, we're going to try to do that. The first part of the tour, we're going to try to stay all together. I know that's going to be a little bit difficult because we have so many people, but we really need to try to stay together, especially given the condition of the property. We will go through the building. We'll tour each floor. We'll try to hit the highlights and see the other parts of the building, such as mechanicals, building systems, things like that you might want to see. Be aware of your surroundings, right? If the floor looks like it's friable, don't step on it. You know, if you have broken glass, try to avoid it, whatever the case is. This is not the most dangerous building that we've been in before, but it certainly has some things that you need to be watchful of.
Switzer West Schools, there's actually 5 school buildings here, all combined from the late 1890s through the 1950s. We're converting them all into residential apartments, market rate residential. And the first of the 5 buildings will be opening up in the July timeframe. The next 2 probably in that same July-August timeframe, and then the last 2 in October of this year. Each of the buildings was in different levels of disrepair, of course. Most of them, though, had all the water leaks. The annex was in the best shape. The roof was newer and there's less vandalism inside. But these behind us were in very poor condition. Water leaks everywhere. All the wood flooring and trim was wet, soggy, gone. The library behind us actually had arson, so it was burned out as well. There were some small, not really structural failures, but all the plaster falling off the walls, plaster falling off the ceiling, wood floors not usable, and so forth. A lot of the windows were rusted out. But in general, the structure is still good, the main structure of the building, but all the finishes and fixtures within it were gone. There might have actually, to get the building was a competition through the school board, so we had to present to the school board and our community around here the vision of what we had versus what somebody else wanted to do, and then sort of show why that vision would work and so forth. Again, this is like our 20th school, so we had a lot of other examples to show of before and after and what we could do with them. From a historic perspective, because it's a school, we had to retain as much of that historic fabric inside as we could. The chalkboard, the trim, the doors, the clear stories above the doors, and so forth. Whereas in just other, sometimes vacant schools that you're not using historic credits, you can just sort of gut it and go back to the brick and start over with a loft feel that looks nothing like what was there before. First, its location. It's in a great location. The purchase price is good because it's fully depreciated and nobody else really wanted it, so it's at an affordable place for us to begin. The historic tax credits is a big benefit to give you that upfront equity or that extra boost to help get going on the project. And then just the character that it builds inside. You get a very nice looking apartment, a good size, nice big hallways, so they lease up really well.
We're at the Faxon School Apartments at 3710 Paseo in Kansas City, Missouri. It's a former Kansas City, Missouri school, and today it's 46 affordable housing units for senior residents. When Faxon School went up for sale, we jumped at the opportunity to do a development project, and the way the classrooms lay out, they're kind of perfect for apartments. Yeah, when you take an old school, there's a lot of common space. The hallways are very large, especially in these old schools. You've got auditoriums and gymnasiums that are really tough to use in a residential setting, especially challenging when you're using the historic tax credit program. We found ways to put units in some of these multi-purpose spaces, really try to use the corridors for artwork and the historic facades, and really try to put as many units as possible in the building, but still maintaining that historical integrity.
I like the community, that there are different people in the building, and it gives you an opportunity to get around and to be neighborly.
Well, since it was an old school, a lot of the chalkboards still existed, and historically, we need to save as much as we can. You got to remember, these schools are in very urban neighborhoods, very residential neighborhoods, because they were built around the houses. A lot of folks like to age in place, but they can't handle a home and the maintenance that comes along with a large home and a lawn and those types of things, but they don't want to leave their neighborhood. They've been there their whole lives. So much like Squire Park, Hyde Park, Blenheim neighborhood, they want to stay, but they don't have the ability to go somewhere that's maintenance-free, that's rental, where they can have a quality residential experience. And that's what we really are attracted to, that senior population. Maintenance-wise, no kids, so it's a lot easier to maintain. It's a quieter resident and tenant experience, and we just like that population, and it's a good demographic for us.